Silence is the best answer to every question. Imagine this. Someone tries to provoke you, to pull you into a battle of words. You feel the rush of anger, the urge to defend yourself, but then you pause. You breathe. You say nothing. And in that moment, something remarkable happens. You gain control. Silence, my friends, is not weakness. Silence is the ultimate power. So the next time life throws a question at you, whether it's criticism, conflict, or confusion, pause. Breathe. Stay silent. Let the world speak for itself. Remember, the right words are powerful, but the power of knowing when not to speak is unparalleled. Silence, my friends, is the answer that outshines every word. When you remain silent in the face of provocation or confrontation, you are showing a strength that cannot be measured by words alone. In a world obsessed with constant talking, responding, and reacting, silence becomes a rare and powerful signal. It communicates self-control, confidence, and inner fortitude. The people who speak the loudest are not always the strongest. More often, they are those trying to prove something. True strength, the kind that commands respect without demanding it, is quiet. When someone tries to challenge you, insults you, or pressures you into an argument, the instinct is to defend yourself, to justify, to prove that you are right. But those who master silence understand that reacting immediately is often a trap. By saying nothing, you retain control over your energy, your mind, and your emotions. You create a space between action and reaction, a space where you remain unshaken by external forces. Silence in the face of provocation is a form of mastery over oneself. It shows that you are not a puppet of circumstances or the opinions of others. You are not rushed into decisions by emotion or the need for validation. When someone attacks you, whether through words, judgments, or manipulation, responding hastily may escalate the situation or make you appear vulnerable. By staying silent, you demonstrate that your sense of self is not contingent on the fleeting opinions of others. People sense this power instinctively. They notice when someone does not react the way they expect. It unsettles those who rely on conflict to feel dominant, because the silence is a mirror reflecting their aggression back at them. It is a quiet, unspoken declaration. I am in control. You do not dictate my state of mind. Furthermore, silence communicates confidence in a way that words often cannot. Consider a meeting where tension is high and someone challenges your ideas aggressively. A reactive response may come across as defensive or uncertain, but a calm pause followed by a measured, thoughtful answer projects authority. Even choosing to remain silent entirely can be more commanding than any long rebuttal. Silence is a statement of self-assuredness. It conveys that you are comfortable in your own skin, that your presence alone carries weight. It shows that you do not need to validate yourself to anyone. And in doing so, you automatically gain respect. Ultimately, silence as strength is a form of intelligence. It is the understanding that not every situation requires a verbal response. That sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is hold your ground quietly. People are drawn to those who remain composed under pressure, who are not easily provoked, and who can maintain dignity in the storm. This kind of silent strength is magnetic. It commands attention, inspires trust, and separates the wise from the reactive. In a world where noise often masquerades as power, silence reveals the true masters of strength. Every question, every challenge, and every moment of tension in life demands clarity before a response. Yet so often, we rush to speak, react, or defend ourselves without truly understanding the situation. In the haste to answer, we risk miscommunication, regret, or even escalation of conflict. Silence, however, is the tool that allows us to step back, to breathe, and to create the mental space necessary for thoughtful reflection. When you pause and choose not to respond immediately, you give yourself the chance to assess the situation objectively. You begin to see beyond the surface, beyond the words being thrown at you, and into the intentions and emotions that drive them. In this space, you can weigh your options, consider the consequences, and respond in a way that is deliberate rather than reactive. Reflection through silence is a form of mental discipline. It allows you to detach from the emotional pull of the moment. When someone criticizes or provokes you, it is easy to get caught up in feelings of anger, frustration, or hurt. Speaking in that state often leads to words that are impulsive, damaging, or misaligned with your true intentions. By remaining silent, you create a buffer between emotion and action, a space where reason can take the lead. This pause transforms a potentially explosive encounter into an opportunity for insight. It gives you the ability to see the bigger picture, to recognize patterns, and to respond in a way that reflects wisdom rather than impulse. Silence also allows for a deeper understanding of others. When you refrain from immediately answering a question or entering a debate, you give the other person room to reveal more about themselves. Their reactions, their tone, their persistence, all of these become clearer when you're not filling the space with your own words. In observing carefully, you gain the advantage of information and perspective that is otherwise unavailable in a rushed exchange. You learn not only about the situation, but also about human behavior, intentions, and motivation. This is insight that cannot be obtained by speaking first. It is a product of attentive, deliberate observation made possible only through silence. Ultimately, silence as a tool for reflection is a demonstration of control and mastery over your mind. It teaches patience, encourages strategic thinking, and ensures that when you do speak, your words are meaningful, precise, and impactful. In a world where people often respond impulsively, those who harness the power of silence stand apart. They think clearly, act deliberately, and influence outcomes more effectively. Silence is not the absence of action. It is the preparation for a response that is far stronger than any immediate reaction could ever be. Every word you speak carries energy. Every reaction, every argument, and every attempt to prove yourself consumes it. In a world filled with endless opinions, criticism, and conflict, constantly responding can leave you drained, overwhelmed, and even distracted from your true purpose. Silence, on the other hand, is a powerful tool to conserve and protect that energy by choosing not to engage in unnecessary debates or react impulsively. To every challenge, you preserve your mental and emotional strength. You become a person who does not scatter their energy on trivial matters, who does not allow others to dictate the flow of their thoughts or emotions. Silence is your shield, your safeguard against the constant drain that comes from a noisy world. Think about how exhausting it is to argue with someone who refuses to see your perspective, to explain yourself repeatedly, or to defend your choices in a world that often misunderstands you. Each response takes not only time, but also focus and emotional investment. Reacting to every provocation spreads your energy thin, leaving you vulnerable to fatigue and frustration. Silence, in contrast, allows you to prioritize where your energy goes. It ensures that your responses are intentional, measured, and reserved for moments that truly matter. You are not easily baited, not easily distracted, and not easily depleted. In this way, silence is a form of self-preservation. Protecting your energy through silence is also about maintaining emotional balance. Words spoken in anger, haste rarely produce desired outcomes. They often escalate conflict, create misunderstandings, or damage relationships. By remaining silent, you avoid unnecessary emotional turmoil and maintain control over your inner state. You refuse to give power to those who try to provoke you, and in doing so, you maintain peace within yourself. People may try to test your patience or push your buttons, but silence ensures that their attempts cannot disturb your equilibrium. Furthermore, silence allows you to focus on what truly deserves your energy. It frees your mind to think creatively, strategically, and deeply about the areas of life that matter most: your goals, your growth, and your purpose. Every time you choose silence over reaction, you invest in yourself rather than in someone else's drama. You become more resilient, more centered, and more capable of responding in ways that are truly impactful rather than reactive. In a world that constantly demands your attention, silence is the art of selectively giving it. It is the discipline that transforms wasted energy into focused power. Silence is more than just a personal tool. It is a mirror that reflects the intentions, emotions, and truths of those around you. When you choose not to respond immediately, when you step back and hold your words, you create a space that others feel compelled to fill. In that space, people reveal themselves in ways they might never do. If you were constantly talking, reacting, or defending yourself, silence becomes a lens through which the true nature of others becomes visible, exposing hidden motives, insecurities, and sometimes even the limits of their understanding. The power of silence lies in its ability to turn the spotlight away from yourself and onto those who are trying to provoke, manipulate, or influence you. Consider a scenario where someone is attempting to push you into an argument, to provoke a reaction, or to challenge your authority. If you immediately engage, you provide them with exactly what they want: a stage for their words, an opportunity to assert control, and a chance to dictate the emotional tone of the interaction. But when you remain silent, you shift the dynamics entirely. Suddenly, the energy of the conversation becomes theirs to carry. They are forced to confront their own intentions, and often their insecurities or lack of clarity are revealed. They may stumble, over-explain, or even contradict themselves. Your silence becomes a subtle yet powerful way to expose truth without saying a single word. Silence also creates tension that compels observation. People are not used to being met with calm, non-reaction, and this discomfort often leads them to reveal more than they intended. In trying to fill the void, they speak in ways that are more honest, more raw, and more telling than they would if you had responded quickly. It is in these moments that you gain insight, not just about what they are saying, but about who they are. Their words, body language, and persistence all convey information that is otherwise hidden behind polite facades or superficial interaction. Beyond confrontation, silence allows you to truly understand people on a deeper level. By withholding your reaction, you encourage others to show their authentic selves. You listen with intent, observe with patience, and interpret with clarity. The quieter you remain, the more you can see. People reveal their values, their fears, and their priorities in the space created by your calm presence. In essence, silence is a strategic tool. It is not passivity, but an active, deliberate act that shifts control to you while allowing the truth of others to surface naturally. In a world where everyone is eager to be heard, the person who masters silence gains the power to see, to understand, and to navigate life with a clarity that others often lack. Silence forces revelation, and revelation is the first step toward insight, understanding, and true influence. There is a unique power in silence, a force so potent that it can speak louder than any speech, argument, or explanation ever could. In moments of tension, conflict, or uncertainty, words are often overused, misused, or wasted entirely. They can be misunderstood, ignored, or even weaponized against us. Silence, however, carries a weight and clarity that no words can match. When you choose not to fill the space with sound, you create presence. You communicate without effort, and your mere stillness can leave a stronger impression than the most eloquent speech. Silence is not the absence of communication, it is the refinement of it. Think of a scenario where someone is challenging you or questioning your actions. A defensive response might come across as weak or insecure, while a long explanation may dilute your message and exhaust your energy. But a measured pause or deliberate silence can do the opposite. It commands attention, conveys confidence, and signals that you are in control. People instinctively sense the strength of someone who does not feel the need to prove themselves every moment. That quiet, steady presence communicates authority and power far more effectively than any series of words could. Silence is, in essence, an unspoken statement. It says that you are secure, composed, and deliberate. Moreover, silence allows others to interpret meaning in ways that words often cannot convey. A calm pause after a provocative statement can communicate disapproval without confrontation. Remaining quiet in response to flattery can signal discernment and self-respect. Choosing not to react to gossip or criticism can demonstrate integrity and restraint. In all these cases, silence transforms into a language of its own, a language that is subtle, undeniable, and respected. People notice it because it contrasts sharply with the constant noise and impulsive reactions of the world around them. Silence also gives your words power. When you finally choose to speak in a world where words are thrown freely, those who speak selectively are heard more clearly. Every word you choose to say becomes intentional, precise, and impactful. The strategic use of silence magnifies the effect of your voice. You are no longer just part of the conversation. You shape it, direct it, and influence it. People remember the moments of silence, the pauses that speak volumes, and the calm composure that refuses to be rushed. Ultimately, silence speaks louder because it carries authenticity, confidence, and wisdom. It conveys a depth of understanding that words cannot always capture. It demonstrates that you are not controlled by external pressures, opinions, or emotions. In mastering silence, you do not merely communicate, you command attention, respect, and influence. Your presence becomes a message in itself, and that message is far more powerful than anything you could ever say. In a world overflowing with noise, chatter, and endless opinions, the person who masters silence stands apart. They command attention not through volume, but through presence. Silence is magnetic. It draws people in, compels them to listen, and creates a natural respect that words alone often fail to earn. Those who speak constantly may be heard, but they are not necessarily respected. Respect is cultivated through restraint, through thoughtful action, and through the ability to remain composed when everyone else is reacting impulsively. Silence is the foundation of this respect because it demonstrates control over oneself, a quality that is rare and deeply admired. When you practice silence deliberately, people begin to notice it. They recognize that you do not react to every provocation, that you are not easily swayed by pressure or opinion, and that your presence alone carries weight. This creates influence. Influence is not about manipulation or domination. It is about the subtle power of being heard, understood, and trusted. People naturally gravitate toward those who exude calm, authority, because such individuals inspire confidence and stability. Silence becomes a tool to guide interactions, shape perceptions, and establish yourself as someone whose thoughts and actions are valued above the constant noise of the world. Moreover, silence fosters an environment where your actions speak louder than words. When you are selective in your communication, each word becomes meaningful. Your guidance, your decisions, and your insights are taken seriously because they are not diluted by constant talking. People respect what is rare and deliberate, and silence makes your contributions rare, purposeful, and impactful. It signals that you are thoughtful, intentional, and aware of the weight your words carry. By choosing when to speak, you command attention without ever having to demand it. Silence also allows you to observe and understand people more deeply, which further enhances your influence. By listening and paying attention instead of reacting, you gain insight into motivations, intentions, and dynamics that others often overlook. This understanding positions you to respond in ways that are strategic, effective, and persuasive. Your influence grows not through force or volume, but through awareness, discernment, and the subtle authority that only silence can provide. Ultimately, those who master silence cultivate both respect and influence simultaneously. Silence is a quiet power that signals confidence, clarity, and self-mastery. In a world addicted to noise, it is the calm, composed, and deliberate individual who stands tallest. By embracing silence, you do not just protect yourself, you elevate yourself. You become someone whose presence matters, whose words carry weight, and whose influence extends far beyond what ordinary conversation can achieve. Silence is the language of respect, the path to influence, and the true hallmark of strength in a noisy world. Silence is not emptiness, it is power. Throughout this speech, we have explored how silence allows you to demonstrate strength, reflect deeply, conserve your energy, and see the truth in others. By choosing silence over impulsive reaction, you step into a higher level of self-control. You no longer let the noise of the world dictate your emotions or actions. Each pause, each moment of calm becomes a testament to your inner strength and resilience. In a society that often confuses speaking with power, mastering silence shows that true influence comes from within, from the ability to remain composed and deliberate in every situation. The act of silence gives you a unique perspective. It allows you to observe, understand, and respond strategically rather than reactively. By creating space for reflection, you gain clarity in decisions, insight into people's true intentions, and an advantage in navigating conflict. The less you speak impulsively, the more impactful your words become. Silence is a tool that sharpens your judgment, elevates your presence, and strengthens your ability to lead both in personal and professional life. Those who embrace silence do not just react to the world, they shape it thoughtfully and intentionally. Silence also protects your energy and cultivates respect. In avoiding unnecessary arguments, draining debates, or unproductive explanations, you preserve your mental and emotional power. This conservation of energy allows you to focus on what truly matters: your goals, your growth, and your relationships. Moreover, people instinctively respect those who speak less but act decisively. Your silence becomes a signal of wisdom, confidence, and authority. In these moments, influence is born not through dominance, but through presence, awareness, and the quiet strength that others cannot ignore. Finally, silence is the ultimate answer to questions that do not deserve a response. Not every situation requires words, not every challenge requires confrontation, and not every opinion requires agreement. By mastering silence, you rise above the chaos, confusion, and noise of the world. You gain clarity, command respect, and achieve influence in ways that speaking often cannot. Remember, the right words are powerful, but knowing when to remain silent is a mastery that elevates your life, your relationships, and your impact. Silence is not passive. It is the most active and potent force for wisdom, strength, and leadership. Thank you for watching this video and joining me on this journey to uncover the power of silence. Your time and attention mean a lot, and I hope this message inspires you to embrace calm, self-control, and inner strength in every area of your life. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that more people can learn the power of silence. Until next time, stay strong, stay wise, and remember, sometimes saying nothing is the most powerful answer. Goodbye and take care.